for becoming the head of service of Ogun State. We have in the house town planner Amakwe Choko. It's nice to have you on the program, madam.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Avia Sato.
Bion is also here. Together we are doing this.
Good morning, Head of Service.
Good morning.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on this program, and it's good to have you on this program on your final day in the service of Ogun State. Let me fire the first salvo. When you joined the service of Ogun State government, how did that come to you so many years ago?
Well, I joined the Ogun State Civil Service on the 4th of December 1986. After I graduated from the university with my master's degree in urban and regional planning, I applied to become a town planning officer. I had applied for that position in '85, but eventually I was called for interview, and then in December I started work as a town planning officer, grade level 2, grade level 8 in December 1986.
The Ogun State Civil Service then, how was it compared to today? I know it's a load of experience for you, but then I know you can easily compare that period and now.
Well, when we joined the service, I would say that then the head of service, the PS, they were high up there. We didn't even have a real interaction with them. We were under the supervision of our directors and the senior officers in the various agencies. And I served at the Ministry of Lands and Housing then, before I was posted to the zonal office at Tota to serve as the recommending officer at the zonal planning office. I would say then that the discipline was already instilled in us. We will go through induction programs to tell us what we need to know as a civil servant, and thereafter in our various places of work they expect that because the GO that is used to call them, everyone knew there was a GO that we address issues of discipline, so you must make sure that you comply with the rules so that you are not sanctioned.
Okay. You are at the beginning at the Ministry of Lands and Housing before you were eventually transferred to the zonal office of the town planning. Well, let's look at this issue that relates with housing and planning as far as Ogun State is concerned. Since you are a professional in that field, and I want to believe that so much you may have to tell us about that. We discovered that coming up from the days when you are fresh in the service, we used to have distinct state housing projects here and there where we have all these residentials and all of that. But though we are having today too, but what we now see is that unlike in those days where when you see a government estate, housing estate, something will strike you that yes, truly this is housing estate. And these days what we are having is not different from the private developers. What has actually gone up in the course of this aspect of our life that has made, for instance, if you get to Ibarra housing estate today, in spite of its age, you will see that yes, this is government estate. But we are not having that kind of distinction any longer. It looks like the general estate by the private sector.
I think the private sector just catching on the fact that because of the increase in population,
yeah,
and the fact that from Lagos people are moving into Ogun State, there is need for increased housing stock to meet the demand of the increased population. So the private sector has seen that they have advantage of develop it. So interested private sector house developers are catching on that to develop houses. The state's policy on housing is being charged by the Ministry of Housing now. I had moved out of land and housing to town planning when we had different agencies created out of the initial Ministry of Land and Housing. And for the town planning rule, what we do is to ensure that schemes either by government or by private individual, we allow for that those ones should come up. The essence is that if private developers are not also monitored, if there are no schemes, there are no approved layouts, then we will have a problem of urban sprawl. That's why you see that we also have private estates, because we want to still be able to control that. But essentially, I think it's because the increase in the population of the state allows for the need for the increase in housing stock, and people, the private sector took advantage of that to develop housing estates.
Okay. Now, I mean, follow up to that, even some of these areas that have been carved out for this kind of planned environments, we discovered that lately what can be described as slums are also almost coming up either adjacent or within, where people will run foul of the original plans of the place. Is it that the laws that guide prevention of such is weak, or that the implementation of such laws are not really being
the
followed?
law is not weak. The law, we have laws that guide planning development in the state. However, those where you have slums, the law also make provision for enforcement. But like I've said, the rate of development seems to be faster than the rate of the regulators who are trying to regulate this development across the state. So you still have slums. Actually, we call it urban sprawl, because slums are within the inner city of the cities, where the houses are degenerated because of age. That's where you have slums. But where you have urban sprawl in developing parts of a city, where they're supposed to actually have proper planning, approval, proper scheme layout before they develop.
Okay, let's move away from town planning to the general sense of your career, in Ogun State. Let's look at one of the trademarks of Ogun State over the years is the fact that Ogun State has had virile civil service, very resourceful, productive, that has always been a shining example to other states of the Federation. Now, what you inherited when you actually came to service, and what you have also gone through over the years till today, that you are retiring from service, will you say Ogun State has departed from the traditions, or the tradition is growing? Maybe things are changing from the time you actually came into
I will not say that the state has generated the civil service. We are still a disciplined workforce in the state. We are still disciplined. But you know that we have different governments, and so the direction of government policies and programs will determine the extent of the success of the performance of the civil service.
Mm. Some people have also said that the civil service generally, or Ogun State in specific now, is over-bloated with staff. Is that true?
No.
Do you want to justify?
Well, I would say that good enough, I had the opportunity to serve at the Civil Service Commission. The last intake we did was based on the requirements of each agency. Those agencies that did not need officers, we did not give them. Only those who actually indicated that they had vacancies in their respective cadres. You know, we have different cadres that were given. I may not be able to speak to what has happened before I got to the Civil Service Commission, but I know that each year they made a personnel budget proposal to know the actual works, the strength of workers in each department, in each agency, and it is on the strength of that that when requests are made, they always say, we don't need officers, and if they don't need it, the Commission will not give them. But where they need officers, we will give them when we are to bring in new officers. So I cannot really say that we are bloated, because even our works at the junior cadre level, for instance, level 1 to 6, we are very few compared to the entire workforce. So it depends on the officers that are brought in at a particular point in time.
How key are civil servants to the social engineering of any particular state? For instance, Ogun State, as complex as we are, you know, our closeness to Lagos and being gateway to...
Civil servants are very important. We are referred to as the engine room of any government, because when policies are made, one, the civil servants will be part of the policy, in the sense that they generate those ideas. A particular government gives the mission, the vision, and then the programs that will be run for that particular administration. Civil servants are key, because they have to be part of the policy. And then the implementation in particular, civil servants are the ones to implement those policies and programs of government, because if they are not part of it, it means that there will be no continuity. When one government goes, that ends the program, another one will come with his own idea. So if civil servants are part of it, then we can be sure that we'll run a smooth transition, run a smooth administration, because the policies, the programs, there will be no abandoned projects, because you can always refer to what had been done. There is always a connection between the past and the present. So they are the ones that can actually give the background to what has happened in the past that will help the present.
All right, there's no way I won't still ask you one or two questions in urban and regional, because you spent a greater part of your career, almost 30 years.
26 or so.
Oh, wait, you see almost. Now, when you look at that particular area of civil service, by the nature of what happens in there, the issue of land, plan approvals, controversies of courts and all of that, to me it makes that environment volatile. How did you cope for
those many years? Especially the fact that I had to serve in my own hometown. Well, I want to thank God for the opportunity to serve there. While I decided to join the civil service, I made up my mind, knowing fully well that such things could happen. I made up my mind that I am going to serve as an ambassador of Christ. Okay. So I was not ready that whatever they say happen will happen to me. So by the time I started work, we had, aside from whatever we learned in school, we still had to learn on the job. So we have rules guiding our operations. And I don't just bend the rules, because we are supposed to be the government that is affirming orderliness in society. So if we encourage illegality, then we have not helped, and there is no business, we don't have business in government. That I used to tell her, I said, I'm not a rubber stamp. I didn't, if I'm to be a rubber stamp, I shouldn't be here. I went to school, and I know what should happen. Since I know what we are supposed to do, I can only advise that this is the way we should do it. Well, for some, because of that, they found me very tough. And the fact that I had to serve in my hometown, people kept wondering, how did I cope? You see, when people know that you follow the rules, if they want to do bend or whatever they want to maneuver, they don't come to me. I remember that I was just with someone, they called me, I say, what did you come? They say, no, they've seen, which means they know that probably what they came for is what I will not assent to. And when they have issues that I can resolve, I know that people said then that whom did you meet? They will say it's Mrs. Choco. I say if it's Mrs. Choco, and she has promised you that that problem is solved, it can be solved. So it depends on the person. I made up my mind I was going to serve with integrity, that I came to add value to the society. So the fact that I worked in a very volatile environment did not really affect me. Of course, there were several challenges in the course of the work, but I thank God that I am bowing out of service today. Glory be to God.
Can you quickly recall, because we may not really have the opportunity of doing this after today, can you recall any unpleasant experience that you had? You said you were not a rubber stamp where you were in government. Which means must have also had a clash with, there is this dichotomy, politicians, civil servants, and all of that. Was there any unpleasant experience?
Well, what I would say...
Possibly with the Amoniles, the so-called Amoniles.
Land grabbers.
Well, for the land grabbers, you will really have to understand them. And when we go to site in those days, whenever we are in any community, we try to relate with them, explain to them we are not their enemies. We're there to help them, because we need to make sure that the area where they are, we enforce layout, especially in my town. There, they were just selling land anyhow. I thank God that at that time we had the cooperation of our superior officers that they must do layout. So we insisted that layout must be done. It took us a whole year before they agreed to our terms, but eventually they agreed. Well, there are some who go ahead to do illegal construction and all that. There are times we'll have to demolish, which is not safe for us. That's one unpleasant assignment I had to do, demolition of properties, because it's still part of our assignment. But primarily, we try to ensure that when they bring applications, we do it timely. If they bring applications and you attend to those applications, they will not have cause to do illegality. But when there are, the process is clumsy, then people will go ahead to do illegality. I would not say that everyone that we worked with did not have issues with them, but in all, God has helped us. We're able to come out of it unhurt.
You are the fourth female HOS we've had so far since the civil service of Ogun State commenced in 1976, which means perhaps the environment is more dominated by your male counterparts. Were there additional challenges you face as a female head of service? Secondly, did you also see this coming, particularly when you became a PS?
Thank you very much. As a female head of service, you know, I worked as the town planning officer when I started. Even in the school, when we were doing our master's degree, it was a male-dominated class. And they'll be saying, your mates are in education, what have you come to do here? When we will stay late in the studio preparing layouts, they used to harass us that your mates are in education, what have you come to do here? So right from the beginning, I knew that I was going to work in a male-dominated environment. So I did not have problem working with men, because I had served as a zone officer. Many were males that I supervised. I had worked as a director. Many were males that I supervised. So in all my journey, and when I became a parent secretary in my first commission, in my first place of assignment at the Ministry of Finance, I had about 6 departments. All of them were male at the time before a female came on board. So I've always had to work with men. So,
I've always been in the male environment.
So because of that, I didn't think I would be harassed. I don't think I was not afraid to do my work as a female. The second question.
Okay, no, you have actually combined you were at some point the head, the PS of the civil service, and I know that one of the ministries that seem to be very key in terms of likely pressures because of the fact that everybody wants, okay, my child has just finished, and all of that. To what extent are you possibly find yourself in a situation where you have to say, oh gosh, how do I handle this?
Thank you very much. No, at the commission we do appointments, we do promotions, we do discipline. And I always tell people, I thank God I had the opportunity to sign letters of appointment, and the opportunity to sign letter of promotion. I also had the opportunity of signing letter of dismissal. That is what the office requires. And so if I must do that, I never hesitated in doing that. Well, there will be pressure. There will always be. I had pressures. When you, about 3,000 or 5,000 people apply for a job, they apply for different cadres to come in, and we're just to engage 1,000 plus. There's no way we could have taken all of them. So many things come into play when we had to take up, when we had to do appointments. And all those criteria were considered. Well, like I said, some, they said I am hard because I don't bend rules just like that. Because we have to take care of those who have come in on merit, must make sure that it's geographical spread. We also do PR. So those are well taken care of when we do appointments.
So talking about bending rules, I think I need to go back to that. I was trying to actually ask that the other time. Did you have any experience with any very top government functionary, especially a politician? Because politicians, there's this impression that they do believe that they come to office for 4 years, civil servants are going to be there for 35 years and all of that. So mostly they want to have their ways within the 4 years. Did you have such an experience?
Well, I will not say I did not, but I always take my time to explain, because like at the commission, we are guided by the scheme of service. So if you apply for a job, we must look at your qualification to determine your level. So I can't bend such a rule, because if you think you are qualified for level 10 or 12, and the scheme of service says that you are qualified for 9, I cannot say because a top politician, please give the person 10. I can't do it, and I did not do it, because I cannot. Others will write petition. We have a strong Envira labor union. So if you do what is contrary to the rules, they can always take you up. And I always say that you cannot take what you cannot give me from me. This is my work. If you cannot employ me, you cannot pay me, why would I sacrifice my life for you for whatever reason? I will not do that. My principle is love your neighbor as yourself. And that's I operated throughout my stay in office.
What qualities does a civil servant, need to have, to be able to avoid bending the rules?
One must be transparent, you must be truthful, you must see you as a person that has integrity, and you must combine that with hard work. Because I could speak to the scheme. It was not as if I was allowing my officers to do the work all alone. Well, I was part of the process. Every process we had to go through, I was always part of it. So since I was no longer a novice, I came into commission, and I'm a town planner by profession. Would I not fall down and say, hey, you go and do it, whatever you bring to table? No, that did not happen in my case, because I was going through the state. It was always beside me and the rules. So if you are making your submission, I want to check what you have done, if it agrees with it. So if one is seen as being transparent, we want to help as much as one can, but if you have cobwebs, if anyone can blackmail you, then you can be afraid that, hey, if they should say this about you. So, and this would have started right from the time one gets into service. One should make up his or her mind that I want to be able to come out clean, God helping me. And with that, you must be a person that is so transparent, must have integrity. It's not everyone that can raise up their head to say, okay, as many as can accuse me, come. But the fact that if you are transparent working with your subordinate officers, they know why. If you cannot help in a particular situation, let them know why. It's not as if I just issuing out instructions. One will be able to come out clean. So integrity of character must be maintained. They must see you as disciplined. They must see you as a person that they can relate. If you say a thing, they can always, if you ask my superior officer who I worked with while I commenced, when I started work, they will tell you that this is how Mrs. Joko has been since she started work. Even then, I was still a young officer. If I go to site, I will say, okay, that place has issues, so before, if we want us to, whatever you want us to do. So I made sure then that whatever should be done, I made the information available to my superior officers.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, let's look at some other aspects of the civil servants now, or the civil service as it were. Now, we know that regularly, if you don't have issues in the course of where you're working, there is periodic opportunity for elevation and all of that. But by the time you get up there, particularly when it now comes to appointment of permanent secretaries, for instance, and all of that, is it the same process as somebody who is lifting up from level 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and all of that? Or
no, it's not the same process. The scheme already tells us right from level 8. For some, it's advancement to get to 9. For some, it's 3 years before they do promotion exam. So anyone that is, before you can be promoted, you must have met the required number of years. However, there are some cases that outstanding officers can be advanced to a higher level based on recommendation. They must have set up a committee and know that this person qualifies. However, in the appointment of a permanent secretary, while that of the subordinate officers had been handled purely by the Civil Service Commission, because anyone that will go to 9, 10, it's by the Civil Service Commission. But for the appointment of the permanent secretary, it involves the head of service, it involves the governor of the state.
Okay, all right. That's quite clear about that. But let's also look at some other aspects of the reason why I asked that question is purely because, for instance, I work in an agency, and agencies and parastatals, I don't know whether we have permanent secretaries being picked from agencies and parastatals, even when you have some that have served enough qualified and all of that to move up to the cadre of PS. You won't see that, and some of us would naturally feel that perhaps we are being discriminated against.
No, you are not being discriminated against. What happens is that in most cases, when you applied, it's not the same process. The commission appoints the civil servants. For parastatals like yours, you do not go through the civil service, because it's not the civil service that does your promotion. The parastatals are being supervised by the Bureau of Staff during promotions and the Office of the Head of Service. You have your scheme. So, like your place here, to become a general manager, that is the peak in this list. So, if there should be any appointment, that will be left to the discretion of His Excellency the Governor.
Okay, talking about, I think we were talking about employment and all of that. Now, there is this issue of ASCOM certificate, ASCOM qualification. For so many of us that are not in the core civil service, somehow we are at a loss, because ours is more of a talent industry. What does ASCOM qualification of talent add to a civil servant?
Well, I've said that that is the Civil Service Commission is in charge of appointment into the civil service. That is in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we have the Federal Civil Service Commission as well as State Civil Service Commission in the law, in the Constitution of Nigeria. And they are the ones that are given that sole responsibility for civil servants. Well, here in Ogun State, we use ASCOM as the agency or medium through which we have, our officers go through for them to qualify before they are taken in. And essentially, the scheme of service did not put ASCOM, no. It's just that there must be a process that must be used by the Civil Service Commission to appoint officers. So for those who are in other parastatals, you don't go through the same process as the civil service. And if you have the opportunity to do inter-service transfer, if you are interested in being in this core civil service, but all of us together we're in the public service because we are serving public. But the civil servants are just those who are appointed through the commission, the Civil Service Commission.
Is a civil servant born or made?
It can be born. You have told you the process. So yes. You cannot say it's a civil servant born. There's no one born a civil servant.
Okay. Then, the point of that, because for us here, we say there are born broadcasters and there are trained broadcasters.
Even the born broadcaster will still need training to do well. Yeah. They need to train for the person.
So which means your innate qualities are not enough.
Now you just need academic compliments.
Yes, for you to excel in the civil service.
No, you need to also improve yourself. You need to. You cannot just say because you are a graduate, you come into the service and just go and relax. The times are even changing. We're in the 21st century and the workplace is changing. Now we are going to go virtual with COVID-19. We now have meetings by Zooming and all that. So it means that we all must continue to improve. That's what, so it's not as if the civil service just say if you are there, you don't do any other thing. No, trainings are encouraged, self-development are encouraged. Just like you also need to train to excel in your industry.
There's always also that accusation, before Kawade comes back, of from the private sector that people are just promoted automatically in the civil service so that they can decongest the system and allow more people come in and all of that. Is that true?
No, that's not true. It's a choice. I chose to be a civil servant. So it's not because the person in the private sector can do better. In fact, for us, we are more exposed. We deal with so many people. In the private sector, they do more training That's why they think that that they think they are better. If you put a seasoned civil servant and a private sector man, let all of them go through the same training. You will see who will do better.
Now, from the time you became the head of service, will you want to share some of the experiences you had, and perhaps along the line, the ups, the downs, moment of your tenure as the head of service?
And I also like to add to that, were you under any pressure when you got that appointment?
No, no pressure. It requires more work. And I want to thank His Excellency Prince Dapabedo Emefa, the Governor of the State. He has been very supportive. All the requests we had to make that we are saying we achieved during this short period because he supported us. He has approved most of those requests that we took to him. And some are still pending, which I believe is going to approve. So I didn't really have pressure. But fortunately, COVID-19 also ate my tenure. Because from March, April, we came back full force on the 1st of June. So those periods, though we were working, because it was during the COVID, we still got approval for the AKD reduction in the price of the housing units there, and we are going to, and we also thank him that he has approved that those units, those who have applied, should be given, because we already, and by the grace of God, we are going to do that today. The Ekedegu estates, those who have applied, the successful officers will be given, will be informed today. Before, because that will be my last assignment in office as head of service.
Okay, that's great. Now, last assignment as civil servants.
Yes, so
plenty assignments ahead.
After, yes.
So, which direction are you looking at after retirement?
I still want to. I always say that if God helps you to get to a stage like this, you must impact back to your society. People look up to one. So, and as the assignment I have in church, I like to mentor young ones so that they also can be someone in life. So I'll be able to have time to do that now. Bringing up,
possibly considering joining any political.
I have not added that to my CV.
we also like to encourage your grandchildren or great grandchildren. By the grace of God, you live very long. To join the civil service, because some people will say civil service, no, my food, no.
I've been here for 33.5 years by the grace of God, and I like said, it's a choice. You bring to bear what you want in a sector. When I got, for instance, when I was posted to Civil Service Commission, I had the posting about the posting since I was not around that day. In my heart, I said, I want to transform that place. We must digitalize the system there. All our files, the documents of every civil servant in the state. I didn't complete it before I left, but it was completed because I commenced the process. So we now have a database that we all have our information, e-copy, and that is in preparation for digitalization, computerization of the whole place. That we have done in the service.
Are you confident that will be sustained?
Because His Excellency is also prone to that. We had set up the tech-up, and they are doing training for officers, and they still continue to do training. So the workplace is changing, and we must change with the workplace. Nobody knew that there will be COVID-19 when that we even get to this part of the world, when budgets were set in January 2020, when it was being prepared in the late part of last year. Nobody thought of COVID. Now COVID is here. We have to engage in virtual learning that has been introduced in the Ministry of Education. So also we must, and we are doing virtual meetings, which means that we must imbibe technology. That's what is our target, that by 2023, the first tenure of His Excellency, we would have been able to access and do our activities by through e-governance.
It's also easy to call you, to say you are a role model too, in civil service and in public governance. But we also know that these days we have young ones whose life values cannot be sustained within the civil service or within government work. They want to, run a race of 35 years in a year or two. How are we able to do it, and what will you also say to this generation of people?
Well, I served as a zone officer. I became a director before I became a permanent secretary. Those I've had contact with, I always encourage them that the first thing you should do is to develop your capacity as an individual. If you have chosen a career, all that it takes to build that capacity so that you can stand amongst your peers and be able to do well, I always ensure that I encourage them to improve on themselves. Those who have to do professional diploma, to become a registered planner, encourage them. Those who have to go back to university, those are the ways to encourage them. And my advice to those who are running ahead of their time is that they should slow down, because God's time is always the best. If you run, in the process of running, of course, they will lose integrity, they will lose confidence, because when you say that, they say, you're not getting it, they become disillusioned, because if they had a mindset that I was going to make money, if you want to make money, go back and run business. I used to tell them that if you think that this work does not pay you, then you don't have to stay here. You leave and go and do business where you can quickly make money. But if you have chosen to be here, then you must follow the dictates of this place for you to actually come out as a success.
All right. Now, like they usually say that the lifespan of work is always, longer than the individual lifespan. Yeah. So there will always be something to do. Now, you told us here now that you started the digitization of the data for the civil service when you were in the Civil Service Commission. There will always be room for improvement. When you look at it now that you are stepping down, perhaps you have some few things that
we have so many things that we are going to do that in my handing over. We are doing, there is a committee set up, they also submitted their interim report yesterday. In the civil service rule, there is no indication of sexual harassment in the workplace. We are not having rape issue and all that in the society to the increased level. So, because that's not in our civil service rule, what will be done to those? We set up a committee. They submitted their interim report. So they hoping that when the civil service, the public service rule due already for review, which will be will be commenced, that will also be included when to make sure the workplace comfortable for both male and female, because both male, whether you're a male or a female, can be harassed. But we want to ensure that rules are there to guide the interest of either party, whether you are a male or a female. So that's one of the things we have set out to do, but that will be continued by the grace of God by my successor. The civil service rule review is due already. That will also be done, because like I've said, that the work environment is changing, and so we must also take care of the officers that are working in that environment.
We'll close this interview in the next 5 minutes, because it's still safe to say you're ahead of service.
Yeah. Yes. Until finally put pen on paper.
Are there regrets? 33 years and a half. Are there regrets for you?
I don't have any, because God spared my life. I had there are some challenging times though. I also thank God that in 2013 I was attacked on my way to work by armed robbers They nearly killed me because the gunshot hit the place I was supposed to put on the headdress. Somehow, when they shot, I was like, so if I was on my headdress, I would have gone. I thank God that I did not die. That was in 2013. So it was a miraculous deliverance for me. So those challenges are there. So of course, someone might think that because of my principles, they say maybe I'm too hard for some. Well, if in the process some things think I've offended them, it's I will say, well, I'm sorry if they think I've offended, but as far as I'm concerned, whatever I did, I was conscious of the fact, and I'm still conscious of the fact that I'm answerable to God. So, and that propelled whatever I had to do during my sojourn in the civil service of Ogun State.
And you say you have to use that to now possibly advise those who are still serving.
Those who are still serving, foremost, we must consider, we must do every assignment in the fear of God. Because when you fear God, you will not want to hurt your neighbor. You will not want to rob your neighbor. You will not want to cheat or take advantage of your neighbor. You don't want to extort your neighbor. So we serve the society. We are the image and the mirror of government. They interface with most of us in our various, whether it's at the field, whether in our offices, those different places we interface with the citizens of the state. We should see ourselves as being opportune to be there to serve them. And because we are serving them, that's why they call us civil servants. And I often say that probably they should have changed our name to civil officers. Maybe we would have behaved like officers truly. But well, the name they gave us, inherited from the colonial master, is civil servant. So we should not behave like a servant, but we are serving the people. And because we are serving the people, I want to encourage our officers to remain dedicated, committed to the work, knowing fully well there's always a reward at the end of it. If they think they want immediate gain, it does not pay in most cases. Immediate gain does not pay in most cases. And it's only God that blesses. He will bless the work of our hand, and I pray that as God has helped me to successfully complete my career in the civil service, so the Lord will do for many. They will not die in service.
Amen. We
will all end well. Amen. And gloriously too.
Amen.
All right.
Well, on a prayer note. On a prayer note.
And we have also responded, amen.
Amen.
All right. We've been chatting with the head of service of Ogun State, Town Planner Amokbe Choko. And we have actually learned one or two things from
I also want to thank my husband before, since I'm on
yes.
Okay. That's very important.
My husband has been very supportive.
Yes.
You know, if he was not, I won't be here in the first instance. So I want to appreciate my husband, Professor Joseph Choko, and my lovely children who I had to leave home sometimes. And I thank God that all of them, they are now adults, grown up, that they did not deviate from the way of the Lord. God has helped them. They are in their various offices. And I thank God that my husband is doing well. He's a professor too, by the grace of God. When we started, he was not one. He was just an assistant lecturer while I was Town Planner grade 2. But today, God has taken all of us to our various levels. So my advice to women is that you still must support. If you have a supportive husband, you can get to any level, but you should not neglect your family while you are serving. So I thank my husband once again for being supportive.
And there will be more time to also keep his company now. All right. Okay. That's on a very encouraging and important note, because at the end of the day, after work, it's the family. And that's why she's appreciating every one of them for being there for her while she had to do the service of Ogun State. So we want to sincerely thank you. We want to wish you well. We pray for good health for you, and we also pray for long life for you as you are stepping down from the civil service of Ogun State. I know that at one time or the other, we'll always be needing your experience and contributions to the development of this state. So, on behalf of the general manager of this corporation and every one of us at Ogun State Television, we want to say congratulations for this successful
Johnny.
Yes,
Johnny.
because a lot of very good stories you have just told us, from being a town planner, coming to the main civil service, the transition and all of that, and with the climax of being the head of service. We thank God for your life.
Thank you, our listeners and viewers at home. God bless you all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the program today, Newdawn on the People's Tele, OGTV 25 UHF, and we thank you so much for staying with us. We'll catch you again next Monday. That's when we'll have another English version of this program. Don't forget that Yoruba version or Tonjo holds Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll catch you on Monday. Thanks so much for watching us. Bye for now.
This is OGTV.
Samek International School.